Hello everyone, this is Timothy from MasterStack. Here we have another review of an AppSumo deal currently live. This particular one we have already covered as a preview, so we have set our expectations and we have seen what it does. We considered it interesting enough to try, which is what we're going to do today. I just joined Pixteller. Before we do that, let's just have a quick recap of what this is. Pixteller is a tool that allows us to create and edit both images and animations that we can then share on social media or use them in our graphics anywhere we want. It seems solid enough all around, but what we've seen that could be the different between other tools such as this is that Pixteller has a timeline for the animation part that allows us much more control than we usually get. You get the highest plan at $49, just one stack, you cannot stack more. And the only limitation that we have seen is that there is no team plan. This is just one user. You can share the user, but not at the same time. That is the limitation we have noticed so far. So what we expect in the end is a tool that's easy to use, both for image editing and animations, that allow us better control than other tools of the same genre. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna prepare this very reviews cover that I usually do with another software. It's something that I want to be done quickly, but that looks good enough as well. So we're gonna go with the design template. I guess we're gonna see if there is anything that looks good to us. This could be nice. This could be nice, but I mean, it's even too animated for us, for my taste. It's just, oh my, it's it's too animated probably. This one looks nice. And the nice thing is that we have 6 pages. That is a lot of templates for social media posts, for mark. Okay, so these animations are all for different sizes. That's very nice though. Let's just look at a couple of them. We will not go through them all right now, but okay. Some of the effects are, I think, very exaggerated, but that's actually good because it shows how much you can do that with others. You usually can't do this much. No, I don't mind this. You know what? This is actually this. But I'm gonna go with this one. So I suppose we're gonna use, and here's the editor. So this is the image that we have. If we go to animate, holy cow, you can see frame per frame, and each layer has different interactions and changes. And the animation lasts 28 seconds. As we can see, the animation changes over time. It begins when the video begins. The animation isn't even there. Oh wow, that's complex. And it begins here, just as a tiny bit, and then expands and morphs. Wow, that's impressive. And this is where it begins. So you can see it begins as black, and then all of a sudden there is no black. Let's go. See, and it changes and it's not black anymore. So the background is black, and this image begins at 2, so it's as wide as the screen but 2 pixels tall, and then it moves. And since the axis is different, you have the effect of the animation of the opening. Now, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna try and use this template. Although I do not see, okay, so if we scroll, we can see the different elements. This is where it goes from black to white to color. Then it's the band that we can, with the animation, we can change. And this is the text. So these are all the layers that go into it. And these are all the layers. Yeah, we can see those. Switch. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're going to only have one text because that's what we want. As we can see, this text begins here, and this is the easy to use text. Then we have the easy to use that becomes sign and animation tool. So it changes and moves, and then it leaves. And then you have 2 at the same time, and it changes every single time. So it gets one line and then the other. What this means is this is the last one, and this is what we're gonna keep. We are gonna remove all of this, and we're gonna cut the video to accordingly. So I do not know how we're gonna do that, but this is what I would like on the video. And we want to change this image here to a Pixteller image. So let's do that. We have replaced that. Now let's replace this one. I would say this picture has been pre-filtered already. Filters and effects. Yes, you can see it's already been. So it's the same image I loaded, but it's already filtered. So this is okay. This is from this on, we do not need this. So we open this up. Okay, and we can see there are 2 layers here. And what we want is to remove this. We want to remove this page. Let's see how we can do that. I suppose this is deleted, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Actually, I want to keep one just to take part in this part of the animation. This is an image. This is weird to maneuver. Normally, I would expect this to work, but it's really being janky. Nice, we can do this, which I don't want to right now, but we can. See, it's a bit, it does its job, but not, it's weird. I don't know how else to say it. So we want this a bit above. And then for the last image, I'm not sure if for the last image, oh nice, these are 2 images. Anyway, that's what gives the effect that we see here, which is very nice. So in this, what I'm doing here right now is trying to show all the various things they've been doing in their videos, because it's very clever at some point. They have here, as you can see here, look at this part. If you check here, they're moving the image, but they're only moving one of those 2 images. We've seen there is a black and white. There are 2 pictures, one layered over the other to give this shadow effect, but they're only moving the black here. So they're changing how the shadow looks just by moving one picture every single animation. Like every half a second it changes. And the white gets placed here the first time, gets placed here, and then gets placed and then leaves at this point. Now what we've done is we've cut a lot already, so let's see what it would look like right now. We have also added our image. Yeah, we have to cut all of this because we don't really need it. And then we might want the ending, but I'm not even sure we want that. The first part is already a lot. It's already quite enough. What we have to cut is all the color changes here because we're not really using it. And this, we might want it a bit earlier. As we can see, here is when we have the PixTeller review written. It changes a bit. So I think this is when we would want this. So we put it at the same time, but we change the ending to the same point. So if we go here, we have this PixTeller review, which we might not want because we have this here, but let's try to hide this. It's very nice that you can easily hide and lock layers here. Okay, so as far as I understand, this is the PixTeller that gets written, the PixTeller review, but this changes from here to here. So what does it change? It changes the font used. As you can see, yeah, it changes the font. This is 100 and this is 200 because it gives some sort of focus. We can see here. See, it's written very tall and then it becomes like that. However, we do not need that. It's actually a bit too big, I think. Maybe 150, let's try. Yeah, well, I like it better. And then it gets to 100 when it says on AppSumo. What is this? What did I do? I deleted this layer. And as we can see, this here is not really doing it. Here, on the other hand, it's much better. We cannot edit here, but we can change the position of things. Although, yeah, I think it's, yeah, okay. What I did was changed that instance. So we can delete, I suppose. I don't see where I can delete just that part, but I can easily, yeah. So if I do this right now, it gets moved on the design itself. And if we go to design it, it should now be lower. It's still here. So I think it's not as, I have to say that by seeing it like this, it's difficult to imagine how it would look in the layers. I suppose you could also just add it on its own. I'm not sure why there are more pages. That's something I would have to explore a bit more. It seems weird because we changed the location in 2 places. I have to understand how that works. So now we have at this point, we are at this point, it opens up, changes color, writes up what it is, looks almost good enough, and leaves. And then it should stop at the final image, I think, in my mind. So this should go slightly. Yes, that's good. That looks good. And it goes up slowly and then leaves. Yeah, I really like this effect. Okay, now let's try to understand how this is going to live. So we want to leave it from here. On all of the layers, we have to cut this part until perhaps here. So it has to come back to here within half a second from, as we said, here. So this is where it has to live, to here. I'm not sure how. All right, so this, where is the AppSumo? Okay, nice. So I understand this is where it comes in, but it has less animations than the other parts. As we can see, this appears, then becomes smaller because this other part appears. So we want to have a bit of a similar effect. And also we want to have an effect going in, perhaps. So let's try and see how one would do that. So as we can see, the effect here is on this part, the effect on this one, it's very different. So it animates slowly by changing direction. So we can create this here at a minus, so it's out. And then here it appears, so it's not minus 500, it's at 0, which I'm not sure where that is. So let's move it ourselves. Minus 76, so let's say 76, I think it was. All right, and then we want it to leave afterwards. As you can see, this is where it leaves, right? Yeah. And we want to make it live on the other side. How do we do that? We double it. We make it, nope, not enough. So we make it live on the other side. And now what we have here is, it comes in and leaves. But it's still not as good as the other effect that we have here. It's not as good because they, as you can see here, they have many more stops. And they move it between lines. So I think what we should do is not as much as them. We just make it move a bit. Yes. And let's see how it looks. So it goes a bit on the left and then moves a bit on the right and then leaves because it's out. And I think that looks really good. This is something that you can never do on other easy to use software like that you just prepare your video with. Now we want this to be the end. This is where our video should stop. And what we're left to do now is to understand how to change this timeline that we have. From what I've seen, unfortunately, there is no quick way to remove all that. This one was done just by deleting the points after which I do not want an animation, just like this, which does take a while on these pre-made templates. And I'm not sure if it's me that I haven't found a way. I did look a bit in the documentation and I couldn't find any better way to do this. So I'm trying to end the video at about 7 minutes. And it seems I've already messed up somewhere. So this part, our own text only starts appearing at this point. So it's very far in. It should probably happen within a second of the beginning. So I'm moving up the timeline by a bunch and it should stay until the end, so that part is correct. We can just make it juggle a bit. It's very easy to see which part we're referring to anyway, so I really like this. Using this is very easy, and we can also make as many stops as we want, which is just as well. This part also appears very early, so if we were to do it right now, see, we would have the text with no other component, and that looks ridiculous. This part that becomes this should be all moved up at the beginning very quickly before the text sets in. We can generally speed this all up. I think it would be worth. Yeah, looks fair. But this is the AppSumo writing, which I think should be around here. Now, we can probably speed this all up by a lot. We don't really need all of this right there. Let's see. Okay, because this text is big enough. We want 5 to 6 seconds usually. So I would like to be able to have it all around complete by then. Let's say 5 seconds. And as you can see, using this is extremely easy. I really liked moving this around and creating new sequences. It's just that it should have some way of addressing the total timeline. It should not be that difficult. I would say that's almost perfect. Now we only have to, this part is slightly on top. We slow this down a bit, but at the same time, this has to be moved up. Has to happen earlier. We don't want this happening. So we delay that a bit and we slow that one down. Let's try. Almost. Maybe we can also change this. Yeah. So it's, and voila. At 5 seconds, we have this, which is a bit too, well, it's okay. We can see the animation going. So I think this was, so we now understand a bit how this works. We have used its main feature, which is the timeline. This one allows us to have slides if we want to, or just different assets we can interchange the animation. It's up to us. This part could have easily been here, but it's okay that it's here, so it can allows us to have a bit of a distinction between animations. As I thought, the main part here is all that animation. Oh, it's the animation feature. This one looks good. You can do a lot of things, and it's actually not bad at all. It seems very useful. As we can see, even just adding images was very easy. Manipulating it was very easy. And the layer thing is amazing. As you can see, not so much when there is just one thing, but here already we can see we have the layer. We can also not see something if you want to. It gives us a very clear idea of what is in the slide. Here in the animation, it's where it all comes to life, and the timeline control is amazing. However, the mass editing the timeline, how long it lasts, that was very annoying, and it doesn't seem to be like that there is an easy fix. So when we get a template and we want to just cut it, it's not gonna be that easy. That being said, the timeline also gives us the ability to fine-tune our animation however we like, which is just great, and it's very powerful and also easy to use. You can see I can just top here instance, and then I can change whatever happens here. I can put this on a different color. Let's see, and we can see this live. Oh, and then we also have the color picker, which is great. Like this. Let's just go for this. So now if we go back to our animation, let's go here. You can see that AppSumo begins black and then slowly fades to red, because that's the color that we added here. Now we don't want this anymore. You can just delete this instance and voila, back to black. I think this is the real power of Pixteller and the reason that I like this tool, and it places it at a different use case than other tools. So while it's not perfect, what we have already is pretty good, and I hope that keeps improving, as I think there is a lot of promise here. It's obviously more complex than I just could see in one design, but it gives us an idea on how to use it, and then by using it more and more we will have a better idea in time. Was our expectation met? I would say almost completely. Not as much as I hoped, because there was this annoyance with the timeline, but at the same time, the timeline was as flexible as I thought, and the options we have available to edit are just as good. So in the end, we are happy with the Pixteller, and I hope you liked this review. If you did, we would appreciate if you subscribe, and have a good one. See you on the next video. Bye bye.